Good morning and welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy Presents our MLB pitcher picks for Wednesday, May 17th, 2017. We've got a pretty ugly slate, if we're being completely honest here, of baseball tonight. Really not a ton of great pitching options, not a ton of great pitchers to pick on. So we've got a pretty interesting dynamic here where we're going to have to take some stands, and things may not just be as black and white as we've seen them over the last few games. Nonetheless, still a slate that should be playable. I'm eager to see how things pan out here. And let's start things out. Remember, this is geared toward tournaments, so let's start things out with Matt Shoemaker, 8,100 on FanDuel at home going up against the Chicago White Sox. I think Shoemaker was one of those trendy, like, this guy's going to have a good year in season-long formats that just hasn't panned out yet. But I know that the talent's there. He was extremely streaky last year, so I'm kind of banking on the same thing happening this year where he's just going to pick up one day and just start absolutely rolling everyone he goes up against. The White Sox are a mess on offense. Still, over a month into the season, I look at their lineup and I ask myself, who in the world are half of these players? I would rate Shoemaker as a better pitcher than J.C. Ramirez, and Ramirez had a pretty good outing with very few strikeouts, but still did well enough to satisfy his fantasy total. I think this could be a big outing from Shoemaker here, so he's going to be a guy I definitely have exposure to in tournaments. Potentially the ultimate tournament play is Michael Pineda at 8,600 on FanDuel, visiting the Kansas City Royals. We know that the Royals are just awful in terms of an offense. They're just not good. I mean, they've got some talent, but again, when you start looking at the names that they're sending to the plate, a lot of times it's just underwhelming. Plus, you got guys like Eric Hosmer, Sal Perez, who've really slowed down or not really gotten started. So this is a good opportunity for Pineda to come through and have another big game. Obviously, we know the downside of Pineda is equal to his upside, meaning that if he can go 7 innings and strike out 10, he can go 2 innings and allow 7 runs. We haven't seen that too much this year, so you want to bank on the fact that things are leveling out, but he's had at least 6 strikeouts every game, and really his only quote-unquote bad game, allowed 4 earned runs at Tampa, allowed 3 earned runs at Pittsburgh and against Houston. So if I described him as anything other than one game against Tampa where he had 11 strikeouts, it's been middling. So, I guess that's worse than being on 2 separate ends of the spectrum, but I think we could still get a big game out of Pineda tonight. For me, though, even though they put up a ton of runs and it was an interesting ball game to watch yesterday, I think I'm going to have my highest exposure to Michael Fulmer, 9,500. Baltimore, one of those teams, much like the Rays and the Brewers, where you look at the strikeout percentages and you say, okay, I can live with that. I think this is a good situation for him, despite the fact that the opposing team has a high WOBA, has a high hard hit rate, has a high ISO against the handedness of pitching that you're putting on the mound. Nonetheless, though, the Orioles are a matchup that we know pitchers can dominate from time to time, and because of that, I do want to have some exposure. Fulmer has been in very good form, and while there's absolutely some risk to this pick, I think that he provides the highest amount of upside, in my opinion, on the slate. So that's likely where I'm going to go today. Once again, top 3 favorite tournament pitchers: Matt Shoemaker, Michael Pineda, Michael Fulmer. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button below, subscribe to our YouTube channel, head over to Facebook, like us there, follow us on Twitter at Research and Win, and join us again tomorrow.